Hi guys, Sarah here from Highland Haven Australian Shepherds and Highland Haven Dog Training, and welcome to a bonus episode of Dog for Thought. Joining me is my co-host, daughter, and dog trainer extraordinaire, Sophie. Hey, Soph.
Hi, everyone.
So we're doing a little bonus episode. We get periodic requests about doing another podcast episode, and we haven't done one in a long time. Can you even remember? It's maybe almost been a year.
It probably was about a year because I think that was the last time that summer, she was going to get
Certainly
the room.
last summer was the last time we did, because we did one or two after Journey had her litter last year and that whole debacle.
It was probably like a year ago.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. It's not that we haven't wanted to do it. It's just that everybody got busier. Jacob got busier, who was our producer. And
I moved out.
You moved out, so you're not here as much. Mm-mm. And Summer lives in this room in the summer. Summer, the person, lives in this room during the summertime.
And during holidays, I feel like a lot of the times is we'll have availability on holidays, but then Summer's in here. Which we don't mind kicking her out once in a while, but it's also girl deserves to have a room.
Yeah, so. And I just think that the biggest problem is coordinating our schedules and getting this done. But I've loved doing the podcast, and we still talk about topics.
Yeah,
and
every time.
Oh, we should do a podcast on that, an episode on that, and we never seem to get around to it.
And we have so much to talk about that. We've had interesting breeding season, interesting me moving out and adjusting of dogs. So that was going to be a good topic. And then we've had a puppy that we lost recently as well. So we've had a lot of things to talk about. It's just it's hard to make time.
It is. But here we are.
Yeah. And part of the reason we're coming together today is we've had an interesting training client, and we started talking in nauseam about it this morning. At nauseam. Mm-hmm. And we were just we're here. Let's just see if we can do a quick pod.
Yeah, well, for me, Jacob's about to start a full-time job. He's done with school. He's going to start a full-time job, so he's going to be even less available. So he's got a couple of months before that starts. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to try to get some episodes in before we really sort of scatter to the wind, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So let's start from the beginning. So we did a podcast probably last summer, and then you moved out in December. So now you live about 30 minutes away, and you commute here to work every day. So I do see you every day.
Yeah, you do see me.
Yeah, that was a little bit of an adjustment for me. Mm-hmm. But we figured that out. And Twiggy can't live with you because your girlfriend has a dog who is dog aggressive, so they can't be together. So Twiggy lives here full time, and then you see her every day and work with her during the day. And then at night she's with me, and then she goes home with you 1 or 2 nights a week.
Yeah, depending on how, if we can get Eli to go to his uncle's house, which we've been really lucky that Cameron's been able to take him, because it's a lot of responsibility to have him, and Cameron has taken it with a lot of grace. And so it depends on the day, and we're going to take as much as we can get until we can't take anymore.
Yeah, so Eli is a 80-pound pit bull. And he is great with people, but really quite dangerous with other animals.
And he's very well trained. It's just we've talked about it a lot on the podcast, where it's play, and play turns into aggression. Mm-hmm. What's the
predatory drift?
Predatory drift. So he'll be in this very playful state, and then all of a sudden the pity turns on. And you're like, oh, okay, so there's no way he'll ever really be able to be with other dogs, which is too bad. And of course, they're the same exact age. Twiggy's 5 and he's 5. So it's tricky, but luckily I love him. And luckily I'm able to take Twiggy home. And we're doing well so far.
Twiggy and Journey still can't be together. So they have to rotate in the house here, which is a bummer. But Twiggy has a good life.
Yeah, she's been doing I feel like a year ago today I was talking about how great she's been being with the training dogs, and have been a really great training companion when dogs are giving me weird behaviors, or if a dog's being inappropriate, I could be like, oh, Twiggy, can you go tell them to knock it off? And she's really good at being a really good training assistant.
which she wasn't like that a year ago.
No.
So she's really sort of matured developmentally, right? And also gotten very used to the routine and being with the training dogs. And she gets a lot of time, personal time with you, individual time with you. She gets more individual time, more exercise, and more enrichment than the other 8 dogs.
Yeah.
Who are just sort of together all day long in the house. Obviously, I don't get them out as much as you get Twiggy out because you're sort of focused on her when you're here. And then, you know, she doesn't get along with Journey, but if for some reason they do meet up, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a serious fight, but no one's going to be killed.
No.
Right? No one's going to be seriously injured.
No.
We have very, very tight protocols about keeping them separated here. And they've worked very well because everybody here understands the gravity of the situation. That is not the situation with Eli. If you make a mistake, and when you're dealing with people and humans, people make mistakes. So the consequences are not horrific if Twiggy and Journey meet. But if Twiggy and Eli met, you know, people could get hurt, dogs could get hurt, etc.
Yep.
So Twiggy's done well, and she's really transformed into a dog who's really good with other dogs. Really good with other
really
dogs.
good. Like, I really don't worry about her with other dogs, and we've been able to do more activities together. Like, she's more of like an activities dog. Like, she would not enjoy just being up with the group all day. So like having set times to like exercise her, she really enjoys, and then having complete alone time because she has a very short social battery. So I think I've just found the niche of like how much I can give her, and then when her social battery's done, like you don't do at night with her. She hangs out.
So we do 4 shifts with the training dogs a day. The last shift is almost always me. I'm here, so it's like 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. where I go downstairs and I watch TV with the training dogs / boarding dogs that are here. And Twiggy is downstairs in her own room, separate from the training dogs, at least when there's not puppies around. And if you're doing that shift, you're much more likely to have Twiggy with you. I let Twiggy out to pee. That's her last pee for the night. She doesn't want to be in with the training dogs, like you say. She's done socially. She's done. And she really just prefers to go to sleep at 7:30, and that's that. So, you know, that doesn't, you know, with Twiggy and with dogs like this, that you have to sort of figure out their schedule and vis-a-vis the other dogs and the way we do. A lot of it is my comfort level or your comfort level of this situation. And I think a lot of people can relate to this, right? You're not comfortable with how much time you're spending with her and how much attention she's getting. In reality, she's quite comfortable with both of those two things.
No. It's a lot of, you know, it's one of those situations like you don't get the dog you want, you get the dog you need. And I feel like the most things I've learned with Twiggy is to be comfortable in discomfort, be comfortable in discomfort. And I know that she's happy. And I mean, when she's with me at home, with Maya, it's like it's almost like too much activity. Like she needs so much downtime when she's with us because we're like doing stuff, and I'm hiking with her and we're going on walks, we're playing outside, and she's so done. Like she sleeps when she comes back here after I take her home for 2 nights. And then it reminds myself that like she's very comfortable in this environment, and I like taking her and putting her in discomfort so then she can like grow. But like and over time she would be fine if I had her home with me. But also in the end, like she's happier here with all the activities I do throughout the day. If she lived at home with me, I would leave her at home and she'd be in the crate for 7 hours a day,
right, if you
for
had,
me to come
right.
back home after work.
Right. Which likely you wouldn't do. But if you had like a regular job, she'd be home in the crate for 8-9 hours a day. And so she's getting a lot more attention than that. But we have a lot of our listeners, we have a very high standard of what an enriched and happy life is for a dog. So, you know, it's a practice in remembering that it's about what they need and what is fulfilling to them, not what I think is fulfilling to them. Yeah. Like we got to observe and say, hey, she's got a really good life. That doesn't mean that periodically you feel guilty and periodically I feel guilty, because we do. Yep. But it is what it is. It's the same with Journey. She has to spend some time in the crate, more time in the crate than the rest of the 7 dogs, because I have to be able to have Twiggy upstairs because I want her upstairs in our living space with the other dogs. She can be with everybody but Journey. And so Journey has to spend more time in her crate than the other dogs. It's not even anywhere close to 8 hours a day, but it's probably 3 hours more than the other dogs spend in the crate, right? And in reality, after she goes out in the morning, I get up at 6:45 after everybody goes out and eats. Journey actually prefers to go in her crate because that's when I bring Twiggy upstairs to be with us until about 10 a.m. Journey actually prefers that. So even when Twiggy's with you, she kind of looks at me like, hey, it's my turn.
My crate time.
I'm supposed to be in the crate right now. So we have to remember that they take great solace and comfort in patterns and structure and consistency, even if it looks to us like the activity they're asking to do is super boring and isolating. For Journey, she also has kind of a limited social battery. Of all of the dogs we have, Journey would be the best as a single solo dog.
Yep.
She does not need to be around other dogs. She does not get a lot of good stuff. The word
Joy.
Thank you. Around being around other dogs, whereas the rest of the pack really does enjoy each other. Journey would be a fine solo dog, so I have to remember that. She can go spend time in her crate. Twiggy can come upstairs and hang with her siblings and parents and grandparents and all of her human family and be very happy too. So it's not ideal. I wish it didn't have to be that way. I wish that every single day it crosses my mind. But in reality, everyone's doing great.
Yep.
So
it's a us problem and
not a them problem.
It's not sure. They're happy just existing, and I hear of so many dogs that are put in situations where they just don't want to be in because it's the human puts all of that on them.
It's running theme with our clients, right? We talk about this a lot with our clients. Like, I think one of the things that we bring to the table as trainers is that because the dogs come and stay with us for 3 weeks and we spend such intensive time with them that we really do get to know who they are at the core. And because we're professionals and this is what we do for a living, we see clients' dogs differently than they see them. Not entirely, but in key ways. And I think that if you talk to our previous clients, I would guess that many of them would say that that is the most valuable thing we've done for them, is help them see their dog in a more accurate way, which allows them to enrich the dog's life in a way that has a return on investment, right?
And
rather than just throwing stuff at your dog and half of it doesn't stick, so to speak.
And I think a big part of it is people don't always, because there's so much information out there, people don't always know what is correct information, what is incorrect information, because there's so much at your fingertips with social media, and then there's all this different views of types of training, of balance and positive only, and all that stuff.
There's a lot of idiots out there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of morons at this point out in the training community. So it's nice to have someone just be like, okay, you should not feel guilty for asking your dog to like behave themselves, that's a lot of our job, is being like, yeah, you're allowed to tell your dog no, or you're allowed to say that, this is a big social gathering, maybe my dog shouldn't be out during this birthday party with a bunch of children.
You need to not feel guilty.
Yeah,
that's
just
the same
don't feel
theme,
guilty
right?
about it. Yep.
The same thing that we go through every day, which is, your desire is to have your dog with you at all times, whenever you can. And as trainers, we know that does not always equal a happy dog, right? In fact, it almost never equals a happy dog. It's a really, really rare dog who can be with you 24/7 and feel comfortable all the time.
Yeah.
They're out there, but they're really, really rare.
Yep.
Vivi might be able to do it.
Yeah. And even then, it's like, we have certain people over and I'm like, Vivi will not enjoy having this person over because
she doesn't want people in her face for sure. But Vivi, out of all of our dogs, Vivi is the most exceptional, and she is probably the most exceptional dog I've ever met. I mean, she's a really unusual dog.
She's pretty amazing.
She's a farm dog. She's a dog that could go in the cab with you, go to the local farm store, get out, walk around the farm store with you, jump back in. Like, you could spend all day with that dog and she would be happy. But part of her ability to be happy in all those situations is that she's super flexible. So she's absolutely happy doing nothing as well because she's super flexible. And I think that most dogs and most people, by the way, are not like that. So we can't expect that from them.
Yep.
So we have the Twiggy situation. We're dealing with that. Everything's going good with that. You've moved out. We did breed 2 litters this past spring. It was intentional. It was an intentional thing. But I didn't necessarily want to breed 2 litters. When you have breeding bitches, it's a little different than what people think. And I've said this before, so some of our listeners will already know this situation. But with dogs, you can't just not breed them for a year or 2 and then go back to it. Like, you have to decide, do I want to breed this dog? If so, I have to do it regularly, either every cycle, so twice a year, or once a year for a period of years. You can't take a year off.
Nope.
If you have an intact bitch that's of age, you have to breed her or spay her. Those are your 2 choices.
And it's not even just like, oh, well, because we want money or we need money. It's actually like a health thing. Like you need to do it. Otherwise, they could be in danger of their life because of pyometra or things that they can get in the environment, or there's a bunch of other diseases of keeping females intact of what could
the main one being
potentially
pyometra,
happen.
which is the really deadly uterine infection. The other thing is that it affects their fertility tremendously.
Yes.
So if you take a year and a half off, say you skip 2 full cycles, by the time you breed them on the next cycle, their fertility is going to be so impacted, negatively impacted, that they might not get pregnant, or they might have a very small litter, 1 or 2 puppies.
Which could also impact their life because it's hard to be able to have only 2 puppies because they're so big. They grow so big that
So
there's
a small,
could be a
like,
C-section
micro litters are not good. And then on top of that, with every cycle that goes unused, their chances of getting sick go up and up and up and up. So I had a choice. We had Evie, who was at the time owned by me, but lived with Gianna. Gianna was her owner for all intents and purposes, but for breeding purposes, technically she's still my dog. So we had her. She had 2 litters.
This would be her second litter this year.
Oh, this was her second litter. Okay. And then we had Tula. This was going to be Tula's first litter, which, was the whole reason of getting Tula. So it's kind of crazy to get her, keep her for 2 years, and then decide, oh, I'm not going to breed her. I mean, the whole point of getting her was to continue breeding. So I was definitely going to do Tula, and my choice was to not do Evie and skip, but then I'd have to skip an entire year because I don't do fall litters, because they just don't sell.
And on top of it, it's like, then we're putting all that onus on Gianna to make sure she watches her in case any health issues happens. And we didn't want to do that to Gianna on top of all the other things we were asking of her.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad. So. It's bad enough if something happens to my own dog, but these are my decisions. To put Evie at risk, I didn't feel ethically comfortable with that, because this is Gianna's baby, and if anything happened to that dog because of something I chose, that would be very hard for me to live with.
Yes.
So there was really no choice.
No, there was no option. We had to breed both of them.
We had to breed both of them,
and conveniently they were around. They went in heat around.
They were supposed to
the
be
same
closer
time.
in their heat cycles. They ended up being 6 weeks apart, which was not my ideal. It's better to just overdo it and to do 2 litters simultaneously than do 1 litter and then almost be rid of that litter, right? Almost have sold them all. They're all gone. And then another litter is just a nightmare because it's doubling your time. And, breeding puppies is an incredibly mentally and physically taxing endeavor. It is. Yep. People like to pretend that, breeders are just out for the money and yada, yada, yada. It is such a mentally draining and physically draining proposition. And then to essentially double it, minus 2 weeks, and it's crazy town.
Yeah, it was really insane. And then on top of it, we had all these porting in training dogs, and I just moved out.
Right.
And
we
it
had
was
done
crazy.
it at a time. I scheduled it, I had all these plans in place, at a time when we were, quote, going to be slow. And we have not been slow in more than a year.
I even feel like this is like the slowest, like right now is the slowest that we've been.
Yeah.
In like a year.
And we have consistent boarding dogs and training dogs.
Yeah, we still have a bunch of dogs in the kennel, and the only reason we can do this episode is because we're like at kind of a lull right now.
Yeah.
So we've been crazy working.
Which is
great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but it was just like another level on like top of breeding dogs, and then having Gianna here, and then having to have two separate areas because you don't want the females to be with each other because
so that's the other thing. The females can't be in the same room together with litters because they become aggressive to each other,
which makes sense.
Yeah,
right.
Fair enough. So it was incredibly. I will never do it again. I will never have two litters at the same time again. Period. I've retired from that crazy town.
There was only one time that I was like, oh, this was fun. And then we learned from it and we're like, oh yeah, no, we don't want to do this again.
Well, the first time we did it, the puppies were 10 days apart.
Yeah. And
so that was super fun. And it
was mother and daughter.
And they could be in the same
they had a different
room.
Relationship. And so we just got lucky.
And it was during COVID. It was no, it was right before COVID. It was 2019.
Yeah.
But the bitches could be in the same room together, even though they were in separate whelping boxes. And the litters were only 10 days apart, which means we were doing double the work, but basically for the same amount of time. And the third really important factor is both litters sold effortlessly.
Yes.
So all puppies were gone by the time they were 8 weeks of age. So we only did 10 extra days of work out of that whole experience. In this case, we did actually almost 10 extra weeks of work. So 2.5 months extra work because these litters did not sell well.
And as much as you're like, oh, well, this is just what happens. It's like the extra work we had to put in was like free labor. So like on top of it, it was like, it only should be a set amount of time. And if you do the math on how much labor we have to do with breeding puppies and stuff, you really don't make that much hourly because it's a 24-hour gig. So as much as money like you're getting from it,
it looks like a lot of money. It looks
like a lot of money
because you get it all at once. Mm-hmm. But when you divide it by the number of days and hours of labor you put in,
the materials you're putting in,
it's probably $2 an hour.
It's $2 an hour. It's literally crazy. Nothing. We do it because we enjoy doing it, and we like putting out dogs that we enjoy because we believe our bloodlines is a good bloodline, and we want to create like good, happy, healthy dogs and contribute to like the dog community. But like it's not really profitable. It's more of like an entertainment. So then to like add more days of free labor,
we added months to it. It was insane.
It was
insane. It was the end of January till June. It was crazy town. And the worst part about it was that the dogs didn't sell well. For the first time in 11 years, I had to really work to sell these puppies. It coincided with some political stuff going on, and I believe that people just got spooked.
Yep.
When people get spooked by stuff like the Iran invasion or whatever, the Strait of Hormuz or whatever, it was
a handful of different things that
people
were
get anxious and they just pull back from everything. I really believe that was what was going on. It just happened to coincide with that. In addition, we did not have a lot of merles in these two litters, and people love their merles, which low-key makes me crazy, but whatever. I mean, whatever. So these puppies were hard to sell. So the first litter, we had leftover puppies. I think we had 2 leftover puppies, and then the third was sold, but she stayed with us for almost an extra 3 weeks for no extra charge. Mm-hmm. In any other litter I've done, in the 15 litters I've done, if a puppy has to stay with me for extra time, the clients pay for that.
Yep.
Because I am housebreaking and crate training and leash training,
and they live upstairs in your bedroom.
It's like talk about labor intensive.
Yeah. So like on top of us like working, training dogs, taking care of our own dogs, we're housebreaking, crate training. They're living up in your room. It's a 24-hour gig.
Also, dealing with another litter on the ground.
Yes.
I mean, it was. I almost have PTSD from the experience. It was just an incredibly unpleasant experience.
And
for
a
me.
lot of like the things that are like boundaries that we would make with prospective puppy clients, we were like looking over because we were like, well, like we just need to sell a couple puppies.
So,
like they're a good owner, even though they're kind of weird or like they're not giving like the best signs. They're going to be a good owner. But we would normally just make a line in the sand and be like, yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Right. And we got all good clients.
Yes.
The point is that I did not follow my boundaries on some of the inquiries, right? And so I engaged in negotiation or whatever, sales calls or correspondences with people who I normally would never do that with because they show red flags, right? They only want this, they only want that. They have all these conditions, and I'm like, that's not who I am.
We want to come see the puppies before we put a deposit down.
Yeah, we want to waste your time and come sit here and play with puppies for 2 hours.
Yeah,
and then go, I'm not
one.
going to buy a puppy. I mean, I never do that. I've never done that.
Nope.
So one of the things, as we just mentioned, is because this is my home, I don't allow people to come and visit puppies unless they have a deposit. We can do a phone call, we can do a Zoom call prior, but you have to have a signed contract and a deposit to come and see the puppies in person.
Well, to come to my home,
right?
To know my
Because
address,
because it's my home.
Yes.
And also, I don't want to waste my time. It's not. It's not time for you to play with puppies. This is a business transaction.
Yep.
I let that go by the wayside. And then there was a couple things like that, and of course, when I started to see that none of those people bought puppies, not a single person who I let in sort of, I considered as a potential, none of those people bought a puppy.
None of them.
So when it took me 2 months to figure that out. And now I'm already into the next litter, selling the next litter. Once I figured that out, I was like, I'm just going to go back to my regular, very strong boundaries with people and just turn people away that are showing these red flags. Not that they're bad people.
No, it's just...
Not that they wouldn't eventually make good dog owners. It's just they weren't in the price range, the tax bracket to afford one of my puppies, for instance, or weren't, it wasn't the right time for them.
Yeah,
or whatever.
it was like a lot of people were just like, oh, well, maybe the next litter, or I want a blue, or like, can I have this one? No, that one's sold. Well, I only want this one. So
Tell me
know
when that person doesn't take that dog.
And it's like,
that doesn't happen.
It's a signed contract. It's done. Like, you're not getting that puppy.
Right.
It was just like the most outrageous stuff. And we've never experienced it before.
We would never experienced it because I would never have allowed it to happen.
It would have never, And it's also like, those are not our clients. Like, those are not, if you want a specific color or a specific type of dog or whatever, go to a different breeder. That's not us. All of our puppies are created equal. We value all of them, no matter color, shape, sex, whatever.
And you should be looking to me as the expert on these dogs, not only an expert on the breed, but an expert on this particular bloodline. You should be respecting my opinion on which dog is best for you, right? Mm-hmm. And people like that don't.
No.
So once I figured that out, and when you're trying to sell stuff and you have surplus stock, right? And you're trying to sell it, it's very easy to sort of compromise some of these strong boundaries. Once I figured out what was going on and I saw the light, so to speak, I stopped doing that. Things got way less stressful for me because every time someone didn't buy a puppy, which by the way has never happened to me before. No. I've never had somebody come to the house and not buy a puppy. No. Ever.
No.
And it happened twice during these litters. It was crazy town.
It was insane.
What is wrong with you? Get out! It's it's so personally insulting to me that. What do you mean you don't want one of my puppies? Like, what's wrong with you?
Well, and it's not even just that. It's just like the audacity of like
wasting my time.
It's not even just wasting our time. We didn't have any time to waste. We had no time to waste between like figuring out the training dogs and the boarding dogs and just having all these dogs in our house, taking care of our own dogs, and then making sure these puppies were healthy and happy and no issues were going on with them, and taking care of the mothers. Now we're having people come into our house and then waste our time. It's like we didn't even have any time to spare. How dare you? And plus, I kind of felt, which, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it kind of feels like when you're a new mother and you're You're just trying to stay afloat. And then these people are like, can I come see your baby? No, my baby is keeping me up all fucking night. You cannot come see my baby. Like, until I'm in a better headspace to take care of my fucking baby, you cannot come see my baby. Like, I felt like it, and people just don't understand. So
no, and I don't think it was like
and
intentional.
I don't think it was
I don't think they were
personal.
bad people.
No.
It's just that they were clueless and completely self-absorbed and not observing what they just don't know. They're just
they
ignorant.
just didn't know. And
We ended up with great clients.
Yes.
It took a while for a few of the puppies to find, but they all had a soft landing and great homes.
we have no problem a couple dogs we like held back because we were like, these are like former clients or a client of a client, and so like we knew that they were going to go to great homes. It was just like it was just exhausting.
Yeah, and fair enough. It doesn't always go the way you think it's going to go. And we've been incredibly fortunate. I've never had to advertise puppies before. I've never had to do that. I mean, yes, I'll put them on Instagram and advertise them that way, but I've never had to like take out ads in Google and stuff to sell puppies. I've never had to do that. And eventually you will have to. And this was the time.
And our ads guy passed away.
Yeah, the guy who runs my Google's ad died suddenly. So it was like a perfect storm of craziness.
It was crazy.
I always say, the longer you breed dogs, what you find is every single litter comes with an unexpected negative. No litter is perfect. And so if you have puppies that sell well, the puppies will have been sick at some point. If you have puppies that are healthy, the market stinks, or
the mother needs a C-section,
or the mother needs a C-section and gets ill,
or you can't the heat cycles line up perfectly, and then you go to breed both of them, and neither of them
take. And that's the other thing about having multiple females, having two females, is the reason I like to have more than one female, is because if you only have one and she doesn't take, you have no puppies. You have zero puppies. So you always sort of want to back up female, and so you go for both, hoping for at least one healthy litter. It's kind of like when you do IVF, right? You implant more embryos than you want, but because you know that some won't take. So
and then you're like, oh well, I guess I can't have a baby. I guess I'll adopt, and then next thing you know, you're pregnant.
Right.
It's like it's just a crapshoot, and we were just trying to stay afloat.
Yeah,
and drown.
It was tough, and I was on Instagram every day for months. Dealing with potential clients and posting stuff every day, every single day, on top of everything else I was doing. And so once the last puppy finally left, I didn't go on Instagram for weeks and weeks. I mean, I was completely silent on Instagram. Yeah. I really took a break because I had to recover. And
we're used to crazy. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, we're used to crazy.
But this was like insanity.
This was another level that I've never experienced.
And then I think on top of it, like me not living at home was like a different level.
Because at least I could leave.
Me.
No, it felt to me.
Yeah, and I don't know how you survived, because I just went home and I was able to be like, and like, even then I was still stressed out at home, but like you were living in it.
No, you know how I survived? I went to therapy. I mean, it was tough. Yeah, it was. I'm not kidding. Like I had to straighten some stuff out.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, it brought up some things that I was like, I'm not sure. My desire to do so many things is serving me anymore. Like everybody who knows me personally knows that I like to have a lot of plates spinning in the air at one time. And it came to the point where I really had to examine that and say, is this serving me anymore?
Yeah.
So I really had to pull back. At the time I was like, I think maybe I don't want to breed anymore, which was heartbreaking because it's something that I absolutely love doing, in not just producing puppies, but also just the science of it fascinates me. It helps me learn about dogs in like a biological way. Like I've learned so much from it.
No, we've learned so much about like genetics and how things are passed on and traits, and it's given us I think a completely different edge to training, because we could be like, a client could come to us and be like, yeah, I don't know, this dog is displaying this and this behavior. And we can go to them and be like, this is genetic. You did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Because we've learned a lot about that. You can't
breed dogs and think that training is all of the picture, because it's not.
It's not.
A dog, a living thing, is mostly genetics. And if you breed any animal, you will learn. Or if you even have a lot of children, right? You will learn that they come into this world 90% wired, and you only have a very small percentage that you can manipulate. And breeding has really taught me that. What we ended up doing was spaying Evie.
Yep.
Evie is officially spayed. She's retired. I signed over the ownership paperwork officially to Gianna, so Gianna is officially her owner. She was what we call in the industry a guardian home. So the breeder retains technical ownership. The day-to-day owner holds on to the dog. The dog comes to me for her breeding cycle and then goes back to the owner. And because of that, Gianna got a free dog. I didn't charge her, so she got a free puppy. So that was her sort of payment on it. She also got a lot of stuff, veterinarian stuff, covered because technically she's my dog for this time. But now she's off my books and she's happily ensconced with her actual mother. And then we just have Tula. And I know you guys were laughing like, oh, she's never going to retire. She's never going to retire from breeding. She's always going to do it. She says that, but she's not gonna... I really did think about it. But looking back on the perfect storm of the situation, and what I learned from it, and I have to say, I love learning things in the world. I love learning through experience. I made some errors, not even errors, but I would do some things differently. One being, will never do 2 litters at one time. 2 litters in a calendar year. I will never do that again. No. It's just not worth it to me. And I'm comfortable with one breeding female. I'm comfortable that Tula's going to be fertile. She was easy to breed.
And I think that if Tula happens to not take, it's not like heartbreaking like it used to be. Like,
yes.
It used to be so heartbreaking when we were like trying to breed Twiggy and Journey, and like neither of them were taking, and then Journey had a small litter, and then Twiggy only took once, and then we bred her like
it's so
2 or 3 other times,
and so acutely disappointing.
And it makes
happens.
you feel like shame about yourself. Am I doing something wrong? Am I not? What? Like it's a lot. So
I don't feel that way anymore. Because I approach it in a different way. I care for my females in a different way, and also this was Tula's first litter. She bred happily. I didn't have any part in her breeding. I just had to stand there and watch, which is not, when we first started out, was not how we bred our females. Our females were quite reluctant to breed. So we really had to be hands-on.
It's so funny. It's like we went from like having like really hard time breeding our females, but having really easy litters that would sell easily. And there's like no complications and super easy. And then it like the tides change, and then it's like easy breeding females, no complications during pregnancy, and then having like a difficult time with the puppies and like
because nothing is ever perfect. So I'm comfortable with having just Tula. My plan is to breed her next year, barring any unforeseen circumstances, is to breed her, but she hasn't gone into heat yet so she's like, she's 6 weeks overdue for her heat cycle. So that's going to push us farther and farther into next spring. But I'm comfortable with one breeding female. I think I will breed her next year. I might keep one of her females if I get the right girl out of her. But I will only, I think, ever have one breeding female going forward. And I would like to reduce the number of dogs that I have, that I own personally. Not that I want anything to happen to my dogs, but the natural process of through mortality, your pack gets smaller. Right now, Journey's Remy's 13 and a half, Ty is 13. They're old at this point. Those two,
and they're showing it because sometimes you go to wake them up and they're like, I'm like, are you alive right now?
They're old.
They keep scaring us.
They're actually in good shape, but they're definitely old.
No, and they're I think deaf, we have and they have memory
13,
care.
12, 11, 10, 9. They goes down the whole thing. Yeah. So I
have a significantly older pack to the point where like we can't play fetch with anyone. We can only play fetch with like 2 of them right now because it's too much. They all run each other over and then end up pulling something, and they're on like
and when you have an older dogs in the group, you have to care for them differently and make sure that they're protected from the younger dogs, not bumping into them, knocking them over, pushing them down the stairs, or in the case of the Deacon, he likes to really every once in a while go after Ty, who's an old man. Leave him alone. So there's a lot of oversight with that. I'm looking forward to reducing the number of personal dogs over time.
And maybe trying a new breed?
I don't know. I might try a new breed, but, more like I would like to travel a little bit.
Fair enough.
Without having to, wring my hands that I got to find somebody to watch these dogs.
I don't disagree. I think it's good, especially, I think it was doable when, I lived at home and, we're mutually doing the dogs together. Sure. But, the boys don't really do too much with the dogs. I mean, they love them.
Your dad's retired now.
Yeah.
So he has absolutely stepped up to help out, which has been really helpful to me.
And Summer is here. So she does a lot with our dogs, too.
But she's going to be going back to school, and then I'm going to miss her, but also miss her help. So things are changing, but it was a learning process, which again, it's painful and challenging to sort of get through those things. Of course, nobody has cancer. No one's dying. No. Got to keep that all in perspective. And I've had, some time I've had days off now, regular days off during the week, which is
really nice.
A real luxury because we have Summer here who does the help. So in that way, things have changed, but in some ways they're going to stay the same.
And to briefly mention, with changing breeds, we have trained a variety of different dogs, and recently, maybe 2-3 months ago, probably when we were going through all this stuff, we have both decided that we love standard poodles.
Yeah, we should talk about that, but I don't.
I feel like that should be an episode.
Limit that to 5 minutes, but I would like to talk about my whole transfer of allegiance to standard poodles, which you could not convince me that I'd be interested in standard poodles.
I've had terrible experiences with standard poodles, especially when we did daycare and stuff. Then we trained these poodles, and I was like,
we don't normally see standard poodles as trainers. They're sort of few and far between because everything's mixed with a poodle. People have really moved away from a purebred standard poodle. We've done mini poodles and things like that.
Yeah, or it's always something mixed with a poodle.
But most of them are doodles.
Yeah, they're just doodle mixes. But we got 3 standard poodles in a row. And I was like, oh, this is what... And they were all different bloodlines too. So it wasn't like they were all similar bloodlines. No, it was 3 in a row. One was an adult black poodle that was a rescue.
Big guy.
Yeah, his name's Cowboy. Called him Cowboy Dan. And he's just a lover. And then we had 2 puppies that we helped housebreak and train. And 2 separate bloodline, same house. And oh my gosh, I loved both of them too. And they're Aussies, but friendly with people. And their coats were super maintainable, and
I have to say, I still don't like the look of
I don't
a
like
poodle.
the way they
I don't
look.
think they're a pretty dog.
But you can groom them to make them look cute.
You can make them look cute, but not pretty. No. Aussies, even an ugly Aussie's a pretty dog.
Yeah.
Poodles, I don't, and that's I think why I've not been attracted to them all these years. Because I don't like the look of a poodle. And I don't mean the show cut. I mean I don't like the look of a poodle.
Yeah, the long face and the
I don't like the curly coat. I don't like any of that.
No, but that personality. Oh my goodness.
So, well, of course we knew they were smart. Everybody knows poodles are super intelligent. But like you say, they're a lot like Aussies in that they have the qualities that are important to us, which are they're good athletes. I cannot own a dog who's not an athlete. They move beautifully. They're incredibly intelligent, incredibly biddable, but they don't have the energy level of an Aussie. They're not super triggery like an Aussie. They don't trigger at stuff like Aussies do. They don't, have that car chasing sort of reactivity. The
nipping inhibition.
What they also don't have, though, is they're not as healthy as Aussies.
No, they're not as healthy, and they don't have great teeth.
They have terrible teeth,
which I don't really love. And I don't think they age the best. I mean, you can mask them to make them look like they're not aging
Aussies
well.
are Aussies.
But,
let me tell you, Remy, she's 13 and a half,
and she looks good.
She looks good. I mean, you could tell she's old by the way she moves.
Yeah, but
that's it.
I mean, I just threw a ball the other day because it was just in the way. I just kicked it, and that girl was running, and I was like, "You're 13. You should not be running right now." And she's barking at everybody, and she looks
and her
really
teeth
good.
are still amazing.
Yeah,
You never need a dental on an Aussie.
Nope.
If you give them hard bones to chew, you don't ever need to do a dental. That's not true of poodles. Poodles have terrible teeth.
Yep. No matter what you do, you're probably
And poodles
gonna
have a lot of genetic problems, genetic things that they haven't been able to screen out of the breed. So their health is different than Aussies. But other than that,
I don't know. I think it would be fun to try, and eventually, I mean, we can stop talking about it, but eventually in the future, we would love to get like litter mates.
yes.
And my girlfriend also wants to get a standard poodle too. So like I was like, and she's a dog groomer. So I was like, the big thing is like grooming. So I was like, if we're on the same page, then we'll groom your poodle for you.
Right. So we'll each choose a dog from the same litter.
And
one
then
will
we'll
live with
raise them
you
separately.
and one will live with me.
Yeah. It will be really fun.
Yeah.
So maybe one day.
Maybe.
Our plans in the future when, I have 2 5-year-old dogs at this point, so it's going to be way in the future before that happens, but
Long time.
Maybe.
All right. So let's see, 46 minutes into it. Let's spend a few minutes talking about Ruby the Bulldog, which is actually what prompted us to finally get back to this podcast and do an episode. We have a training client. Her name is Ruby. She is an English Bulldog. She is 2, I believe, 2 years old. And she came for training. And she's just an interesting dog. We have worked with bulldogs.
Yep. A fair bit of times.
Not often, but we do get bulldogs in. They're a challenging breed to live with in general, health-wise and behavior-wise. But Ruby has come in, and we find her to be a pretty interesting dog.
And really unique in the sense of, like, I see a bulldog as not really being the most intelligent dog on the dog scale of intelligence. I'd probably give them like 2 or 3 out of 10. Sorry, bulldog lovers out there. And because of that, they tend to have a lot of machismo. They have a lot of confidence. They walk into a room and know that they're the best dog in the room. Like, they don't really think about things. They just jump off of that ledge because they think they can do it. They tend to be a bit of a bully. They tend to, they can not have the best social skills. Overall, they are pretty, people love them. They love them because of their ballsy, big nature and bulldoggy, big tough energy.
Yeah, they're big everything. They have a big personality. They're
big heads, big body.
Yeah, they're just big in every way.
Yeah.
So the people who have them generally have big personalities,
Yes.
and they really enjoy that sort of jolly cluelessness, the desire to jump in, close your eyes and just jump in,
Not even
look if there's water in the pool, just jump in.
Yep.
And not even make the connections when you hit the cement floor of the pool and get hurt and go, they don't learn from that.
No,
they'll do the exact same thing
every
next
single
time. And people love that personality.
I mean, it's the same thing with, like, if you look at most bully breeds, like Frenchies are very much like that.
Same thing, yep.
Boston Terriers, higher energy, more athletic, but same personality. Pugs to a degree, lower drive, but same personality. So like it's definitely a very particular type, and it's really not our bag. But the interesting thing about Ruby is the way that they described her. They had a very detailed form on all the different behaviors that she had.
They worked with her a lot.
They work a lot, and
they worked with another trainer. She went to board and train elsewhere.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And they had very detailed report card of her. So when we read it all through, we were like, okay, like we pretty much know the dog we're gonna get. So I was very prepared for a bulldog because a lot of the descriptions of her were very bulldogish. And then we get this really sensitive, timid, biddable, wary, dog, athletic, looking for reassurance dog, and we're like, what is this? This is not the report card at all. I like this. I've never like, I like pretty much all dog breeds. But I would not say that I ever loved a bulldog, that I was like, oh, this is my bag.
Well, Rocco was pretty cool.
Rocco was pretty cool, but he was a bulldog. He was very much a bulldog. He was
but
he was
beautiful.
he was beautiful, but he was just like, he was just a goofy guy. Like he
Not particularly
I wouldn't want to
no.
keep him. Ruby, I would keep her. If they didn't want her anymore, I'd take her. I really like this dog. She constantly asks if she's doing the right thing. She goes into a situation knowing that like she doesn't know all the rules and has to like nitpick and find her place.
So let's describe that, because having done daycare for a long time, one of the things you learn to not like when you're integrating a new dog into a daycare environment, a group dog environment, is you don't like the dog who goes, that's never been there before, that goes right into this group of, say, 20 dogs and starts to play immediately. That's actually a red flag.
It's a huge red flag.
The novice, the layperson would look at that and say, oh, look at that. He's so social. He's doing great. The expert would look at that and say, oh, that's a problem.
Yep.
Because that's an inappropriate behavior.
And that's a dog who's not looking at social etiquette and social boundaries and is not taking anything into accountability. They're just like, let's go play. They're also not observing the danger scale. And if they are observing the amount of danger that they're in because they're in a group of 20 dogs that they don't know the rules, boundaries, limitations, anything, and you're immediately playing, that's a dog that is either really dominant and really secure in themselves, or a dog that is dumb and will make a bad decision and start a scuffle. Either way, it's a scuffle no matter how you slice it.
Right. I mean, because if you want to narrow it down, if you want to boil it down, if a dog goes into a group of 20 strange dogs, those dogs could be very tight, right? A very tight social group. And they could, in theory, turn on the interloper and kill that dog. Yep. I mean, this is super extreme,
yes,
right?
Yeah. But like easily...
I mean, if you're talking about like street dogs in Peru,
yes,
right?
Yes.
A single dog is not going to enter a social group of street dogs like that, because that dog is going to be quickly dispatched and then not produce any more, offspring. It's like Darwinism,
it's
right?
Literally a survival instinct to be wary going into a group of 20 dogs.
So when you have most bulldogs, most bully mixes, other breeds as well to some degree.
Yes.
But it's very common for a bully or bully mix to walk into a group social situation on a property that they've never been on.
Yes.
And just immediately say, hey, I'm here, I am the king shit, and start playing. And that is a red flag. Ruby did not do that.
No, she
did the opposite.
She did the opposite. She was very avoidant. All of her body language was, I am not a threat. I don't want anything. I don't want any beef. I mean no harm. Like every single body language, everything that she was doing was saying that she's not a threat and that she doesn't know the rules and that she's wary, which is
with both people and
dogs, which is very interesting because that's not what I would describe a bulldog.
Most bulldogs will either be overly friendly with people they don't know, or aggressive with people they don't know. Like there's overly friendly, tinged with actual serious aggression.
And the way that her parents were describing her, that's what I was expecting. Is like her to almost be borderline not great. I mean, to the point where they were like, well, if she's not good with the other dogs and she's a safety issue, like we had an exit plan for her. Like we would just compensate them for the training.
Because if she was going to be an actual threat to the other dogs, because even though she's, whatever she is, maybe 14, 15 inches at the shoulder, she's not very big. She probably weighs 60 or 70 pounds. I mean, she's a powerful dog with a very big jaw who could really, and that's always our concern whenever we get a bully or bully mix of any kind. Are they going to be safe with the other dogs? So I was kind of concerned that she might be a risk with the other dogs. And she had some
incidences at dog parks.
Yes, and some reactivity on leash and things like that.
Yeah, like everything in the documents were like to tread lightly.
And that she turns on, like when she plays, turns on quickly, goes to a 10 and plays super rough.
And goes for like the neck area as playing.
Which
so
is very bulldogish.
Very bulldogish.
So I wasn't surprised at all at that. That is not what we saw. Although we did see her turn on a couple of times.
She would turn on, but with like the most smallest correction. She was like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that that's not what you wanted."
Correction from the other dog.
She could take corrections from other dogs.
And normally bully mixes
They
don't
can't.
do well
They get
with
very.
corrections.
It's like an ego hit
It does smack of ego. Of course, that's not what's going on, but that's what it looks like. And if you were to interpret it in human form, like someone who has a shame response.
Yeah, it's literally like a man having a shame response because you said excuse me. You know what I mean? The same vibe. Those are usually people who end up owning bulldogs too. But anyways,
not in this case.
In this case.
These people are lovely.
Yeah, not on the bulldogs we actually have had for training, but yeah. So
she could take corrections from other dogs, which is unusual and great, fantastic.
Yeah. And then we even took her on a walk, and the first walk we went on, I feel like we went on like a weekend or a Friday, and there was all these people barbecuing, big trucks, people doing the lawn at the park that we go to, old people with walkers, little kids screaming, and these are all triggers. Like these were all in document that the detailed form that the parents sent, and she got a little.
She turned on once, a little bit. But again, the ability to take corrections from other dogs, she's also able to take corrections from her handler, and we're talking really mild corrections.
Yeah, like
really mild,
like the most smallest correction, and she was just like, "Oh, I didn't know that we weren't allowed to do that. My bad." And then that was pretty much it.
She's also just super reserved in general.
Yeah, and she makes a lot of eye contact, which I would not describe a bulldog to have any.
Yeah, find me an English bulldog who makes eye contact.
Right?
That's craziness.
Insane. And she makes this eye contact of very much like an Aussie, which is, why we like herding breeds, of I understand you. Like, I'm looking for validation. I'm looking for the next direction. I'm looking for human connection, which I freaking love. Like, she's I
very
really
unusual
like her.
Bulldog.
I also took her a week to warm up to us too, which is
and she's actually warmer with you than she is with me because you spend more time with the dogs. But she's fine with me. She lets me pet her, and she's happy to see me. She's certainly not on the couch snuggling with me. I think she snuggles
with me, but the problem is I don't watch TV. But when I do watch TV, she's
the problem
up there.
for me is that we have Maisie, the toy Aussie, who thinks that the couch is all hers.
Yeah.
So she growls when poor Ruby tries to get on the couch, and what am I going to do? So Ruby says, "Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah,
I'll reconsider and go lay over here."
Well, it's funny because I was on the couch with them, and she doesn't want to jump on the couch for me, so I have to lift 60 pounds of her up.
No, she jumps on the couch by herself with me.
Jumps on the couch with me. I pick her up, and then she curls up next to me, and then puts her head on me and goes like this, with doll eyes, and I just scratch under her chin, and then Maisie's all like. But she doesn't care. She's laying on the other side.
She's not that driven to be with me at this point. But she's quite reserved, which is not really a bulldog thing. You really have to work for her affection, which is something that I like.
I love it.
Because it feels very satisfying when you do win them over. She's very biddable. She's quite sensitive and timid, which is not something that I would ascribe to the average bulldog.
To the point where we were like, well... did something happen with the other trainer? We were trying to just be optimistic of this is most likely genetic, like we were just talking about before. But it came to a point where we were like, okay, we need to make sure that this is normal behavior. So we ended up calling the parents, which is not a normal thing that we do. It's only for specific dogs that will have a small phone call just to make sure that we're on the right track. And we ended up calling them, and they were like, no, she's always been like this. She's always been kind of shy.
So we were a little concerned that maybe she had some harsh techniques with the other trainer, which was also a board and train.
Yes.
And, it's very easy to assume that when you have a timid dog that someone's been harsh with them. Mm-hmm. We never thought it was the owners, but...
No.
It's very easy to quickly jump to that conclusion. And so... it's good at that point to then speak to the owners and say, hey, are these behaviors we saw before board and train, or did they only come out after? Because then it sort of puts to rest. And the answer is, no, she had the behaviors before. Yeah. The board and train might have not taken into account how timid and sensitive she was, but... overall, the bottom line is she had those behaviors before. And what that does for us is it helps put to rest in our minds that we're dealing with a dog who's had harsh techniques applied
and
to
then
them.
making sure that like we don't trigger those behaviors, because that was more or less my fears. Like, oh, am I triggering behaviors, and do those behaviors now I have to unwind, and then inform the parents that these are abnormal behaviors.
I also want to be more careful with the dog who's had a bad experience, because maybe this is what you're saying. You can then trigger a more intense reaction to what you're doing with her, because they're going to be more defensive because they've been dealt some unfairly harsh, hands at the hands of another trainer. So you want to, if that's the case, and I don't think that's the case here.
No, I don't think so.
But, as trainers, we want to make sure that they haven't sort of gone through a trauma that we have to be careful not to re-trigger. And make them more defensive. So we were able to speak to the owners and sort of put that to rest in our mind and then sort of move forward. She did start to play. She's been here for a little over a week.
Yeah.
And she has not been playing. She's been avoidant with the other dogs. And she's had a variety of dogs come and go of all different sizes, of all different personalities, of all different play styles. Some of them have invited her to play. Other dogs totally ignore her. Some have very nervous energy. Others are super mellow. They were big dogs, little dogs, just a variety of dogs that have come and gone. And she's been avoidant with all of them, which is fascinating. Yeah. Not typical. Again, not typical of almost any dog we get.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about a bulldog, really not typical.
And then on top of it, her being here for such a long period of time, that she knows the routine, she knows what's going on, she knows what's happening, she knows the rules.
Right.
So she should be more comfortable to play.
We should start seeing these behaviors come out, the more comfortable she gets. And we're not. She did just yesterday start to play with Harpo, maybe a 45-pound Bernedoodle. He has a very intense play style. He's a good boy. He has a very intense play style. He's not every dog's cup of tea, because he likes to play long and hard.
Yeah. And I look at that and I'm like, she likes to play rough, because I've had short intervals of playing with her. But they're very short, and she gets over threshold and then has to like remove herself, which is also not a typical thing. Usually like bulldogs go over the top to the point where like
you have to pull them off the other dog.
Yeah, you have to like...
They've been now triggered into actual... predatory drift, and now they've got the other dog pinned.
Yeah, but instead it's like with her, it's okay, I can tell I'm over threshold and I need to like leave the situation, which is like another weird thing to like be able to have that genetic
and these are
wiring.
The bottom line is these are all really, really good personality traits that are going to benefit this dog and these people, and they have a new baby, so that hopefully things will get a little bit calmer and more under control at home, because she's a good dog.
Yeah, I really like her a lot.
I love the fact that she moves well. She's athletic. She's strong. She's healthy.
She has a nice foot placement too.
She doesn't. Her nose is not super smushed. She has a little bit of a snout. So to me, it appears that, and we've talked about this. It appears to me, and I don't know about breeding bulldogs other than, the little bit I know about dog breeding that can be applied to them. She seems to be a somewhat ethically bred bulldog, like with actual conscious of not making them super brachiocephalic, the smush nose, making that so they can actually move
and like, I mean, she still has bulldog issues. Like she had she tore ACL, and she was sick at a young age.
She was very sick with pneumonia as a young dog.
I mean, it's one of those.
She's still a bulldog.
Yeah, she's still a bulldog. She still has bulldog tendon
sensitivities.
Yeah, sensitivities and genetic predisposition, but
physical vulnerabilities that come with the breed. But overall,
I mean,
she seems like a nicely bred dog.
Yeah,
which gives me heart, because we can bring bulldogs back from the brink. Same with Frenchies.
I know.
We can do it, but people have to be willing to make those, decisions when
it's
they're
all
mixing
about
dogs.
money. It's all about money. That's the problem with these unique looking breeds, especially when like
the more extreme they get, the more popular they get.
Yeah, and it's like, man, you're ruining blood. I mean, the same thing to like a degree with like, not to go off topic, but with like any breed that becomes like ultra popular, it's like they always end up ruining the bloodlines, because it's like mass produced.
Think about Merles and Australian Shepherds. I mean, what's sort of saved the black tries and the red tries is the fact that you can't breed Merle to Merle. That's the only reason black tries and red ties exist, because people are so obsessed with the Merle. So that's actually benefited them.
Especially right now, everyone's addicted to Merles. They're mixing Merles and everything. And it's like, okay, do you guys know all the genes that come with Merles? Because it's very tricky. Like, I would not want a Merle in almost any other breed besides
that it's not naturally
standard, and because they come with so many health issues, and even
it's not normal.
It's not normal. It's not normal. And even within Aussies, you have to be so careful of mixing specific bloodlines because you can really mess a dog up. Anyways, to go back to Ruby, she's lovely.
She's cool. It's I love working with a dog who is sort of the antithesis of what you see typically in that breed, because it helps us.
It puts a different perspective, because like it's same thing with like the poodles. Is like I definitely had a
predetermined idea of what this dog's going to be. And then they come in and they're completely different than what you expect. And so you have to pivot and not phone it in. Like you have to go, okay, how am I going to, all right, this is not what I expect. So now I actually have to train this dog.
Yeah. And I think like, with training, and correct me if I'm wrong, is I am so used to just like training the same dog for the most part. Like, I mean, yes, we get different breeds, but like certain dogs come in and I'm just like, okay, I know this dog, I know how to train this dog. And then another dog comes, I know this dog, I know how to train this dog. So it's really nice to be pushed to see them as individuals. Not that we don't see all of our training dogs as individuals.
We do, but it's a lot of dogs are much easier to work with because they're what we expect. Dogs like Lucy, the GSP, right, sort of push the needle forward for us.
And then from there, it's like, then we end up training this GSP Remy, and I was like, okay, like these are normal behaviors because Lucy showed all of these same behaviors, and now that we're training another Bruno, GSP, it's like, okay, like GSPs for the most part that we've trained have all had very similar
GSPs will make your training better regardless.
Yeah, I mean,
even the best GSP will challenge you training wise.
Yes.
But dogs that are not what we expect make us better trainers, right? Because we can't just be on autopilot. You have to be creative. You have to be ready to pivot and meet that dog where that dog is. And that makes it, first of all, it's interesting to the mind, right? The difference. And it makes you a better trainer and a better person, I would argue.
Yeah, and like, like I look at in bulldogs or bully breeds, and the reason that we were thinking a certain way about the training with Ruby is because they have such a specific stereotype that like your initial reaction is to be like really intense, really harsh with them because they're a power breed. And in reality, the more I've learned about bully breeds, the more I've been, it's corrections don't really work with them the same way that other dogs.
You can't bring power to power. If you've got a powerful breed, you have to come around it sideways and go in the side door. You can't face them head on.
No.
You have to be very strong in your boundaries, but you cannot push them beyond that. You have to come in the back way.
Well, it's like with any power breed, they're physically inclined. You have to be mentally stronger than them. So people who,
because they're physically stronger than you.
They're going to
take you out. They're going to take you out.
So like it's always so funny when like people have these really big like XL bullies, and they're like, oh, I'm a big man and I have this XL bully and I can control this XL bully. And I'm like, ironically, like you give you have like a big man with this big bully. Every single time they're pulling on the leash. They're being crazy on there's very rare I see like an XL bully and I'm like, oh wow, that's like a really well-behaved XL bully. And the only time I've ever seen it is with a woman, because she's always mentally stronger than that bully breed.
She has to be, because she's not physically
stronger than the dog, right? So like a big masculine man with this big XL bully can physically hold him back. That little woman that has that XL bully needs to be mentally stronger than that, and she will be significantly
and come in the side door. That's sort of
So like I've always it's just a fun perspective to
which is why the variety of dogs that we deal with keeps it interesting and makes you a better trainer.
It makes you so much better, and you just learn so much more. And it was just, it's an interesting.
She's a fun dog.
Yeah.
She's only halfway through her training. So we'll see where she ends up.
Yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm excited for the go home lesson because I think that we have a lot of interesting things to say to them, and I think they've already kind of have an idea of who she is, and they just need a little fine-tuned tweaking and to be on the same page.
Yeah, they need to come together, because both believe the same thing about the dog.
Yeah,
right now they're a little bit, they have a little bit different opinion of who she is.
And they're not, neither of them are wrong. It's just that we need to
they each have half the picture.
Yeah.
And they need to come together to make a whole picture.
Yeah, which is like so fun because I love getting to know a dog and then going back to the owners and be like, you were right about this and you were right about this. Let's look at it this way. And then they're like, light bulb goes off and they're like, she's amazing. And I'm very excited.
Yeah, that's very satisfying as a trainer. Yeah, I think that's what we do best.
Yeah.
All right. Apparently your phone is on 10%, so we should wind it up. And Jesus Christ, 71 minutes.
It's a bonus episode.
Okay. Well, we appreciate everybody coming in and listening to our bonus episode. We will try to do these occasionally, but I don't want to say that this is like season something, episode something, because that makes me feel like we need to produce them in a certain time period. Yeah, I just don't think that's
we just don't have time anymore.
Going to be possible. Although I'd love it.
I know, I do too.
All right, let's wind it up.
All right.
How did I used to wind it up? I can't remember how we... I guess that's it. That's it for this episode, guys. I guess we'll see you soon.
Yep.
That's it? That's all we say?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Dog for Thought is written and hosted by me, Sarah Brown, co-hosted by Sophie Brown, produced, edited, and original music by Jacob Brown. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.